Hi, my name is Josefsson. I'm a writer and translator between Swedish and English. In honor of the Swedish to English Literary Translators Association's 40th anniversary, Translators Aloud is hosting a series of readings of Swedish literature through to the end of the year, with readings by SALTA members every month. I will be reading from my translation of Pooneh Rohi's second novel, Husk, or Hölje, which was published in Sweden last year and is currently looking for an English language home. I've not been able to stop thinking about this novel since I finished it. It's a true gut punch of a story, tautly narrated days of alienation, which is kind of a hallmark theme of Rohi's. I'm going to start from the very beginning of the book. Day 1, 2:22 a.m. A brief shimmering white light, the taste of vomit in her mouth, and a curve of gleaming steel, dazzling and sharp. Mona sees it, then feels her eyes burn. It's sharp and blinding. She blinks in an attempt to focus, but the light gets in the way. The first wave hits her with red-hot force. Her body seizes as the blackest pain washes over her again and again. Day 1, 2:24 a.m. She looks up and blinks the darkness from her eyes, breathes. The pulsation is suddenly gone, abruptly ceased, and in its place there's a dull ache pressing against her, protracted and discreet. She opens her eyes wide, trying to fix her gaze on something, the sink, the rag, the bottles. Then there's the next wave. It hits her hard and without mercy, has her entirely in its thrall. She's trembling as the seconds replace one another. She sinks again, sinks into the body, into her own depths. Waiting there, she tries to focus on the quivering patches on her eyelids, but she can't. The pain holds her constant, extends the moment until it's stretched and unbroken. Then suddenly the burning sensation falls off, cools, and she inhales once, then once more. A respite before it hits her again, this time with increased force, so hard that her arms go rigid, and it lingers, hot and superior. Day 1, 2:48 a.m. She listens. The waves have flattened and lost their edge. She looks for the pulses, slowly and cautiously probes the body so as not to wake them again. The pain is still there, but more immutable now, uniform and steady. And there's the damage, the tearing, fetid and warm. She lowers her shoulders and lifts her head from the pillow to look around, sees a blouse stretched over a pair of breasts, thick, durable cotton. Pearls of sweat lined up along that hairline, a muted reflection of light in the perspiration. A hand with a needle coming closer. She jolts, and the woman looks at her with a smile. Creases multiply around her eyes as she passes her hand over Mona's thighs, leaving goosebumps in its wake. Mona meets her gaze in the hopes of something to hold on to, but the woman has already turned away. Where am I? The workstation behind the woman, the counter along the wall. The sink, gray and white, lined up against a tile. A crumpled towel tossed there, covered in pattern of red stains. Mona looks at the folds, the red seeping into the cloth like wiry branches. The woman lifts her hand to the lamp and creates a waft that cools the flesh that's been torn open. There's a half second of blinding light before the lamp is angled down, but the room remains bright, flooded by the gleaming, sharp whiteness that finds its way into every corner. That light, if someone could just soften it. There is a large painting on the wall, a woman and a child in shades of orange, faceless and soft, pressed together in a supple mass. She looks at the stripes by the sink again and spots a pair of bloodied plastic gloves. My blood? Did that blood seep out of her before the waves and the pulses of pain? The woman shifts in her seat, and there's a brief squeaking as the wheels of her chair move against the floor. Mona blinks. She needs to think, focus. The room, the woman, the pain earlier, the black waves, and the seconds prior. She tries to reach for them, makes an effort to think back in time to what happened before, but her mind is silent, blank, no shapes to hold on to. Then, suddenly, there's a movement, a squirming of something slick on her chest. A small and wrinkled, bloody pile with wispy hair, eyes shut. The little naked body is so close to her that she hadn't noticed. She lays a hand on the slippery skin, cupping the vague shape. Puts the other hand on the back, feeling the vertebrae under a thin layer of skin. The raised bed ends at her elbows. There are no side rails. The floor, hard and bare. She makes an effort to stop her racing thoughts, to push through the flickering towards something less muddled, some graspable structure. The woman now moves to the side and puts something on a little steel table, picks up a different object and keeps working. Mona glances at the table, a syringe, dark red at the tip. Suddenly, she's aware that the pain is gone. She can still feel the hands moving down there, but the stitches don't sting. It's like dull strings that make no sound. She looks at the child again, purplish pink and swollen, with marks in red and white on the skin. She doesn't want to move. That face full of creases, twisted, spongy, swollen, long legs bent under a curved back. The skin porous, blotchy, with white fat sticking to the place where hair and skull meet in uneven roundness. The baby has fallen asleep mid-scream, plunked down over her bare breasts, a heap of flesh piled on top of her. The woman's hands keep moving, frictionless and smooth, but she doesn't want to see, doesn't want to be in this room. Tries to push it away so she can have a moment of peace along with her thoughts, make some order. Space to think in the midst of all that's going on around her. The woman changes her position again, slides back a few feet with a chair, fetching an object from the steel counter. On her way back, her gaze falls on Mona, and Mona tries again to hold on, tries to find something in her eyes that might bring clarity, something she can understand. Something to help her sort the impressions that keep crowding her, help them fall into place and create meaning. But the woman just smiles before she turns her attention back to her body, where it remains. Then, out of nowhere, another movement, a shadow in the periphery, far to her left. Mona feels herself tense up as something cold plummets in her chest. She turns her head and sees a pair of smiling eyes. Everything stops right then, in that moment. A quiver of stillness. A little smile, no eyes on her. Full focus on the child on her breast. She manages to resist an impulse to shut her legs, cover up. She feels her heartbeat hard in her chest. Once, then once again. Thank you.